Hey guys, this is Chris with the Average Guys Pro Wrestling Podcast. Following episode is about promos. This message is here just because, we get right into it, we get right in the meat and potatoes, and I just wanted to, introduce the episode. Thank you guys and enjoy.
Yes, thank you.
Alright, do we want to stop talking about football and Magic the Gathering and start talking about real things like wrestling?
Yeah, fucking nerds.
Shut up, nerd.
Alright.
Nerds!
All right, nerds, let's do this.
This is the Average Guys Pro Wrestling Podcast. This week we're talking about stables. What does that mean? It means if a group of people want to get together in wrestling, which coincidentally has always been a really good move, they form a stable. And we're just going to talk about shit like that.
The rules for this are the groups have to be more than 2 members. Even if one of those members is inactive.
So the New Day counts?
The New Day counts as a stable. It's not just a tag team. But that also counts the Hart Dynasty.
Yep.
It also counts oh god, I can't remember their name. It was Albert X Factor. Yeah. The X Factor.
Ew.
It also counts
Why would you bring that up? That was a beautifully weird time frame where there became a new kind of heat that still kind of exists for certain people, but X-Pac heat was all over the place at that time.
That is true.
A-Train and Just Incredible. Yeah, but you guys didn't know I knew the third member there. Deserved way better than what was going on there. Because they were getting booed just as hard just because they were friends with X-Pac. Fuck that guy.
He's not that bad.
At that time, people hated him that much, though.
Right.
Was it like Roman levels of bad?
No, here's the thing. It was like Eva Marie heat for a little bit there, where the boos were not we don't like your character boos. It was we don't like you personally, please leave. Boos, because X-Pac at that point in time was not a very good wrestler.
Well, he just wasn't a likable individual.
No,
he did a lot of things that made a lot of people sour.
Definitely.
I don't remember what they were.
But he was a part of a pretty great stable that I'm sure we'll bring up.
D-Generation X?
Well, yeah.
I thought you were going to talk about Kane Pac.
Kane Pac's
No,
not
that's
stable.
just a tag team. Yeah, it's just...
I know, but Kane's big enough for 2 people, so that should count.
You sure Kane's not just 2
Technically,
people?
Tori was a thing in that feud.
Yeah, but I wouldn't count that as a stable.
Nope,
Yeah.
not gonna do it.
Technically the Usos were also a stable as well for a short time.
I don't think I'm gonna
Roman?
count that.
Are you talking about when they were helping out Roman last year?
No, when they debuted as heels, and I think it was with Tamina as their manager.
Oh. Wait, does that mean the Dudleys count as a stable? Since
Oh,
it was
hell
3
yeah,
of
they
them?
do.
Actually do, because at one point in time there were 4 Dudleys, but do you not know about Big Dick Dudley?
I know about Big Dick Dudley.
I also know about Big Dick Dudley.
Dudley? I love that guy.
Yes.
Big Dick Dudley.
Dig, dig. Dig, 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 dig.
What has happened to this
Alright, well.
podcast? 18 episodes in, and we already suck.
I hate to break it to you, Chris. We were never very good.
We get better every day. I'm just super tired.
I hope so.
So, if we're just gonna keep name dropping, shouldn't we start talking about what makes a stable good?
Yeah.
Do we want to bring up the good first, or do we want to talk about some of the bad stuff?
There's failed stables. We could do this for an entire year.
Yeah.
Let's see. I mean, I could start with X Factor. That's technically a failed stable.
God, they're so bad.
Too Cool.
Oh, I remember them.
Yeah.
Here's the thing.
I think that's cool.
Too Cool comparatively to the WCW equivalent at the time was infinitely better. Because technically, Jose, you probably have seen a bit of this. WCW had 3 count?
Yes.
And I know many of you are like, 3 count? Who the hell is that? Well, 3 count was one Shannon Moore, Conan, and a certain wrestler that goes by the name of Shane Helms.
Ew.
One of my favorite people.
Well, no, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
I love Shane Helms, and they their gimmick was that they were a boy band because that was super relevant at that time. Good job on that one, there, Teddy.
Yeah, it was really weird because the WCW is like, man, the WWF has got a big fat dancing guy with 2 smaller dancing guys. They dance in the stage. The crowd loves it. We need to do something like that. What's real popular at the time? And unfortunately, it was like NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. So Teddy's like, fuck it, do it.
I mean, technically, those guys did release 2 songs, so who the hell am I to call them not successful?
So Zach,
I mean, John Cena has a full rap album, so
They're not as successful as John Cena.
I bought that album.
So Zach, why don't you drive for a minute? Tell us what makes a stable work.
Well, I mean, I don't want to just completely drive it. I think we should talk this out.
Well, no, I mean, I was singling you out.
That's fair. So one thing that I think that you need in a stable that makes it really good is you need to have certain roles filled. You need the mouthpiece, you need the enforcer, and a couple other like random things. Something good that's gonna help you out in the ring. So let's take a modern day one for example. Let's look at Sanity. They have Killian Dane as the enforcer. You have Eric Young as your mouthpiece, and you have Nikki Cross as your run interference, but also that. And I think right now there's not many stables that exist currently within the WWE universe, but I do think right now that Sanity is probably the best because the only other stable, if we're not counting the New Day in this one, is the Miztourage, and I just don't think that works too well because that is just 2 lackeys but no enforcer. You need the enforcer to make a good stable.
Well, I thought that the Miztourage isn't working because the name is dumber than shit, right? You're not gonna drive anybody to want to watch your program with this like half-assed name, and then on top of that, you have 2 guys that were all but forgotten until very recently, with Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel being kind of his. Honestly, for lack of a better term, it's just arm candy. Like, that's all they are.
I mean, Bo does look pretty great in his new jacket.
He does look like he belongs to the band Steel Panther. I stand by that statement.
But, like, it's like the Miz is the Miztourage is the Miz and 3 valets. That's exactly what it is. Because, like, even when we watched SummerSlam this week, or not this week, I guess 2 weeks ago.
As I've blacked that event out of my memory here.
The 6-man tag.
Hey, dude, that main event was sweet.
The 6-man tag was very forgettable because
well, nobody watched it because they didn't let anybody into the goddamn building yet.
That's technically true.
It is true.
But it was also like we all watched it. I know you watched it, Zach. I know you did.
Oh, I did.
It just didn't feel like a stable. It just felt like 3 dudes sitting together saying, "Hey, you know what we should do? We should be a group." And then Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas were like, "Dude, I'm in because I'm doing literally nothing right now."
I mean, Chris, who's your enforcer in the Miztourage?
There is none
at this point in time. Who do you want it to be, though?
Oh my God, If I could build my own stable, of
No,
course,
you can only add one member to the Miz Taraj.
No, I give up.
It has to be their enforcer.
No, there's no answer to that. There's no right answer to that question.
That's a good question. What would you add to them is Taraj to make it better if you gave them an enforcer? Can we
Luke
call
Harper.
somebody?
But Luke Harper would have to like.
He would have to
I
clean
don't know
up.
if the Miz would. He'd have to put on like a new shirt at the very
Like honestly,
very least.
we could do an APA thing and add Sheamus and Cesaro.
And they joined the Miz Taraj?
Yeah, they just dress as bodyguard, like the suit and tie with kilts.
Maurice made me hire him because she thinks things are getting too dangerous out here.
Oh God.
But yeah, I do think the whole Miz Taraj thing is a flop because there's no character dynamics. Like there's no clear cut role for each person to play except for the Miz, which is why it feels like the Miz and 3 valets, because one of them is his wife and the other 2 are just yes men. Like that makes no sense.
Right.
When we like go to a group like the New Day, when you look at the New Day, you don't see like they every character is every piece of a good stable. Every one of them can talk, every one of them can actually perform, and every one of them actually, could be an imposing figure if they needed to be.
Yeah, but Big E is obviously the big enforcer in that group.
But the thing is, like, they could all be that person.
No, that's definitely true.
They're the best of every world, and that's probably why they work so well together. And also, I think another big piece...
There's actual chemistry there, too.
That's what I was just about to say. Before I was
Sorry about
rudely
that.
interrupted by Johnny Awesome.
Whatever, t-shirt champ.
Dipshit experience. Oh, man.
Go not sell a t-shirt.
I want my rematch. I just want you to know that. But yeah, like a good team needs chemistry, and like I said, they actually have to interact with each other. It can't just be a dude standing in the ring with 2 dudes flanking him as he yells into a microphone and the other 2 guys are nodding. Like, yes, this is exactly where we need to be right now. I'm in the spotlight. Awesome. There actually needs to be antics. Like if the Fashion Police became like an entire stable. Unfortunately, I don't know if anybody else can pull off the Fashion Police as good as Dongo and Breezy, but
I don't think there's anybody strippery enough
come
to
on.
join them.
let's add John
Really?
Cena.
Ziggler?
So let's
I don't know if but Ziggler, I guess, what if Ziggler always wears like a cowboy hat like McConaughey?
I don't know.
In their stripper movie.
Dolph Ziggler's too busy selling people cell phones now.
Is
He
that his
is,
new
but
thing?
I think Ziggles could be a good addition to the Fashion Police.
Anywho,
Moving on.
right. But let's not
All right.
focus so much on the E this time around. We've gotten some feedback from you guys, our viewers, and I want to actually kind of like start this whole situation going back in time to 2008. The first stable I ever personally saw formed. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you guys were watching this program at the time. The stable was called the Main Event Mafia.
Yeah, here's the thing. What I would do is when TNA was on, I would flip the channel between when SmackDown was on commercial because they were on at the same time. Because TNA thought they could compete. So I don't know a lot about TNA, but I do remember the Main Event Mafia was basically all these guys who were huge main eventers back in the day, and then that's how it started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually just everyone kept getting joined in because they were competing with Aces and Eights, right?
No. This was before Aces and Eights.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, my TNA timeline in my head is very off because...
Reasons?
Yeah, I just didn't watch it.
Well, it was the original main event Mafia, I believe, was Scott Steiner, Sting. I think AJ Styles was in it. Booker T was in it.
AJ Styles joined later. I do know that.
Yeah. Booker T. Oh god, there's actually a lot of members of the main event Mafia.
I'm gonna pull this up.
Yeah, you do that. But like, that wasn't a stable in the traditional sense where you have roles that people play. That was a stable in the sense that these were all very good quality, old school, old timey wrestlers, and they went kind of the wrong direction with the gimmick. Instead of like showing that they were just better performers than the younger guys, what they probably should have done was basically use them as an NWO role, but not to the same extreme. I don't know if that makes any sense.
So originally it was Kurt Angle, Sting, Kevin Nash, Booker T, Scott Steiner. They added Christian Cage a month later, or a week after that. And then Samoa Joe and Tracy Brooks joined a year later. Then there was the second incarnation in 2013 with Sting, Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe, Magnus, and Rampage.
And they feuded with
AJ was
Jason Ace.
never a part of it, according to
Really?
this.
I thought they were. There are a couple promos that involve AJ.
Yeah. I'm going to read into this a little bit.
Yeah, you do that.
So you guys,
But
I'll read into it while you guys talk.
the specific subject that the captain gave us was stables that went nowhere. I just want to point that out too.
I mean, that's just hard because there's so many that there are, and if you want to understand why stables go nowhere, you need to understand what makes them good first.
Right.
If that makes sense.
I mean, I brought up 3 Count, who technically went nowhere, so I'm still on it there, Captain.
I'm trying to honor everything that the captain stands for.
Yeah,
Can't wait to set
you're bringing
sail on
up
your ship
the
again.
stables.
Let me.
So, in our viewer feedback, we got told to bring up some more earlier NWA.
Oh, some old school stuff.
I mean,
Yeah.
if we're going to talk old school and we're going to talk about stables, there's the obvious one to bring up.
I mean, we can't bring them up.
Greatest.
We can't bring him up because you guys forgot him last week, like a bunch of
Oh, I know.
No, we're
forgot to
saving
bring
him
up.
for his own episode.
bunch
But-
of wieners.
Let's put it this way. Ric Flair is not the only person that was in the Four Horsemen. There are a lot of people that there is infinite talent in the Four Horsemen. It's not just them.
I mean, I was gonna save them for the end there because Rick deserves that.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, we can bring it up later. I'm just saying, if we're going to talk about old school.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up a team that was anchored by one Mr. Paul E. Dangerously. You guys know about the Dangerous Alliance?
It doesn't
No.
sound familiar, but go on.
So this was, let me get the exact time frame when this was. This was back when Steve Austin still worked for WCW. Oh, one sec.
The hell was that?
That was me plugging my microphone back in.
Oh,
That sounded like a door shutting, but
That happened when I plugged my microphone back in.
no.
interesting.
Go on.
Okay, so the team, it was anchored by Paul Heyman at the time. He used to come out with this big-ass 80s cell phone. It was fantastic. On occasion, he'd hit somebody with that shit, which, like, I'm sure probably caused a concussion or two.
Mm-hmm.
But the team was, kind of internet. So, while we're on it, can we talk about these stupid-ass ads that take you to the top of the page? Hate that shit. If you're a company that does that, I'm probably not buying your product.
Yep.
But anyway, the team was one ravishing Rick Rude, Arn Anderson, stunning Steve Austin, beautiful Bobby Eaton, and the living legend Larry Zbyszko. And at one point in time, Medusa was in there as well. So it was a team of just some of the best technical wrestlers in WCW at that time frame.
That sounds like the Four Horsemen a lot too, because you said Arn Anderson and Barry Windham, right?
No, it was Bobby Eaton.
Oh, Bobby Eaton. I thought you said Barry Windham.
No, the only one that was in both, I believe, was Arn Anderson. But like the key part of that was that they had Rick Rude, Steve Austin, and like Zbyszko at that time. And Zbyszko was on the way out, but you had Steve Austin, who is really young, and Rick Rude is truly one of the most underrated wrestlers from that time frame. I know he got put in their Hall of Fame this year, but like, I don't know why the fuck it took that long. Like, technically, Rick Rude also was in D-Generation X for like a month and a half.
Oh yeah,
Interesting.
He was their manager before he jumped ship to WCW.
I thought he was their briefcase carrier because Chyna was also there.
That is also true. That is a thing that did happen.
He just handled a briefcase for him.
He was the first guy to appear on both an episode of Raw and an episode of Nitro, because Raw was taped and on the same night.
Came out there and cut a promo saying what a difference a day makes. Which I am pretty sure that's why it took him so long to get inducted.
And he went right in and joined the NWO because, everybody was. Because everybody and their goddamn mother wanted to be part of the NWO.
So, I mean, if we're going to bring up failed factions, I truly think that NWO is a failed faction at the same time.
The second time.
Well, the NWO, here's the thing. The NWO is both one of the greatest factions and one of the worst factions of all time. And it was great in the incarnation, but when it just finished, when it got near the end, that's when it started to die. When it was like NWO blue, NWO black, red, silver, rainbow.
Mexico.
Some of those are made up, but
Team NWO Lavender, brah.
Team NWO Sierra Echo.
I don't like that one. We're fighting now.
All right. We can fight at work tomorrow.
Oh, God, that's right. I have to work tomorrow. Guys, I'm so tired.
I feel you, man. But
You're
yeah.
not supposed to feel me. That's not your job.
All right, fine.
Sorry, guys. Oh. Okay. I'm ready to record a serious show now. Are you guys there?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't heard from Josie in a while, but
Currently muted because I'm eating.
that's fair. Josie, did you abandon us?
No, I'm still here. I was listening to the conversation.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the NWO is just one of those weird things where like sometimes it was very, very good, and other times it just got really bad. Josie, you're like our big WCW guy. Why don't you talk about that for us?
For the NWO?
Yeah.
Wow, there is a lot to go into for that. That was...
Well, let's put it this way. What made the NWO work, and what, in your opinion, what didn't work?
Well, what made it work is the people that originally started it. Because you had Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Hogan, which was, the third surprise member.
Yeah.
Which probably one of the greatest heel turns like in wrestling history.
Oh yeah, that was huge. The actual factual like baby face of any time, and just suddenly as a heel.
The exemplary.
Like when I was watching it, my friend Ryan, who was like the biggest Hulk Hogan fan at the time, like he came out and supported the NWO, and my friend Ryan just lost it. Like he tore up his Hogan poster, he threw out his shirts. What's it called? He threw away the figures that he had. Like he wanted nothing to do with Hogan. He was just shocked by it that much.
Right.
Casual fan.
Huh?
A filthy casual fan.
Even as a casual fan, like even if you're not a casual fan, that's a huge deal.
Right.
Yeah,
Like-
it was. Because
like,
I remember
that would
hearing
be
about
like
it in
John
school the next
Cena.
day.
Yeah, would it be like John Cena like suddenly coming out and being like the biggest heel on the planet? Like, yeah, a lot of fans of wrestling would be happy with that, but it would still just make a huge impact.
Yeah.
All they'd have to do is go out there and be like, I no longer believe in hustle, loyalty, and respect.
Yep.
I think you'd have
Don't
Maybe the hustle part. Maybe the hustle part, but
I
the
don't-
loyalty and respect, none of that.
I think he'd have to do a
No,
lot
no,
more
he's
than
just
that.
changing the definition of hustle. He's going to start hustling kids out of.
No.
Yeah, like
Well,
if
you guys know I hustled you out money for years with my T-shirts. I kept making them. You idiots kept buying them. Vince just kept handing me checks. It was beautiful.
if Cena just turned around and started using Eddie Guerrero's catchphrase of lie, cheat, and steal, people would treat it the same way. Like, oh my God, did you hear Cena? He's a bad guy now?
Right?
And that's the way it was with the NWO with Hogan. Like, even the next day at school, my friends who were not wrestling fans, they heard about it. Like, hey, we saw on the news, Hogan's a bad guy now?
It's on the
Right.
news?
Wow. Yeah, it was on the news.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it was on the sports section of the news. Like, Hogan's a bad guy now. I was like, oh my God, it's everywhere.
Hogan turns on WCW.
Right?
Yeah.
And that I think it's part of it had that. Like, at the time, Hogan was still one of the biggest stars. And that's what worked. And they played it up so well because, like, every day they would come out and just start messing with people that they had no business messing with. They're like, why is the New World Order beating up Raven? Like, why?
Well,
what did
it's
Raven
'cause-
do? Well, it's Raven.
It's because Raven sucks.
Yeah. I mean, it's Raven. I mean, he had his own failed stable too, called the Flock.
Yeah.
But he also was one of the best mic men of that time frame.
No, he
And
was.
just
He
was
was good.
catastrophically misused in WCW, way worse than he was in WWE. Like they failed at it, but
Wasn't Raven in charge of the Brood in WWE?
no,
No.
he was in
Gangrel.
charge
that
of
was, it was Gangrel.
he was in charge of a shopping cart that he pushed around that was just full of stuff that he beat people up with.
Oh, yeah.
The
Yeah.
perfect stable.
I heard that Enzo found that a couple weeks ago.
I mean, that really is the perfect stable there.
Just weapons.
Yep.
Wish I could use my friends as weapons.
So
Oh.
I'm going to try and live up a little bit closer with the Captain White here and bring up a really failed WCW tag team that also happens to connect itself to the Hulkster.
Ooh.
Go on.
I'm listening.
So Hulk just signed with WCW as the top guy there, and there needed to be a gaggle of bad guys. So in comes the Dungeon of Doom.
Oh God, yes.
Yeah.
If you guys don't know who the Dungeon of Doom is, there's the Master, which was Kevin Sullivan, and Kevin Sullivan, while being super talented, still couldn't save this shit show.
Yeah.
Had people like Kamala and the Leprechaun and Meng the Merciless.
It was
Yeah, the Giant.
it was the debut of the Giant.
So technically, they weren't all terrible, but other wonderful characters were characters like the Shark and the Yeti.
Well, it was like, hey, we're getting Hulk Hogan, we're getting literal wrestling Superman. Let's make a literal
Yep.
wrestling Legion of Doom to fight him.
And oh god,
That's what it was. They tried to make literal monsters into a stable.
if I
Turner
recall,
Broadcasting.
they had one of the few like multiple cage matches against Mick Foley and company as well.
Well, Turner Broadcasting owned the rights to all these, like, weird monster movies. So, of course, Turner, being what he is, was like, oh, I want to incorporate that. I want to make that into a group.
Well,
we're
yeah.
Gonna, we're going to name them ridiculous things. like the Mummy.
I think at that
the Yeti.
time, at that time they were booking, or they had. Who was even booking for him at that time frame? This was way before Eric Bischoff rolled into town.
I think that was Jim Herd still.
Oh man, that was some rough ass booking right there.
Jim Herd just took what he thought worked for television and tried to make it work for wrestling. That's just what he did.
I mean, that kind of worked. We're talking about it now, so
I'll give him give him credit for trying. Like he had some pretty outlandish and fun ideas.
I think he was just too late with it. Like if he did it back in the early to mid '80s, it probably would have hit a lot closer.
Well, that's probably what spurred the ideas. If it
was like '89, that shit would have been over like fucking cassette players. You know?
Like he probably looked in the past and was like, "Oh man, this Undertaker thing that got over. This all these other things that are outlandish and stupid."
I don't think
got
the
over.
Undertaker was a thing by that time.
He was a thing in 1991 or 1990.
Yeah, I don't know. I was negative 1 year old at that point, so.
Dungeon of Doom.
Let's see, 91, I was 6, and yeah, Undertaker was scary.
Get out of here, you old fucker.
I know.
They were 95, so yeah, the Undertaker probably was something that went into this.
Yeah, like I said, Jim Herd
Well,
probably
would have
watched
gone
footage.
into it.
and
This was WCW, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys know who the Shark was?
Who was the Shark?
Shark Boy?
No, the Shark was Earthquake.
Oh,
Interesting.
Yeah.
But they very hokily like slapped a singlet on him that had like a shark mouth.
No, they just
Please
took
tell me
his-
it was like
over
by his
his-
crotch.
Oh, dude, I'll send you a picture of it.
I'm pretty sure they
I'll
just.
put a picture in the chat.
I'm pretty
Alright,
sure
sounds
they
good.
just took his Earthquake singlet and then took off the
The thing that said Earthquake and just say, oh, it looks like a shark's mouth.
yeah, and just did that.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I gotta.
Yes,
Oh, go ahead, Zach.
I was gonna say I want to bring up a faction that I don't understand.
Maybe we can help you understand it.
Is it the Job Squad?
No, I actually do understand the Job Squad. And hopefully someone that's in the chat that might know. Oh my god, I just saw this picture. So
I told you it's hilarious.
this is a thing that I just recently started watching, and I started watching this because it was free on Twitch a couple weeks ago. But Triple Mania, which was on free on Twitch, and in AAA there is this faction of clowns. Does anyone understand that?
Okay.
Because I tried looking into it, and like, from what I could tell, like, it started off with like these certain clowns, and then there's like Psycho Clown, who's basically like the top baby face in the company, and he split from the other clowns, and then Murder Clown and some other clown won the tag titles this week because Martin Cassis, also known as Marty the Moth, showed up and helped them, and now he's part of the clowns.
That sounds like something Marty would do. That guy's a class act.
I mean, if any of our listeners could explain this to us, like...
Yeah, because I have tried to understand it. I read into it. I'm just like, okay, so just people really like clowns in Mexico? That's the most that I'm getting out of this?
Oh, Doink the Clown was super over.
But, like, it's specifically in Mexico. Like, this has been going on for a long time, and they're still, like, the big ones.
Oh
Like,
my God.
they're like one of the biggest factions in Mexico.
That gif is glorious. Oh my god.
This super distracting on the page I was on. I was like, yep.
Honestly, I don't know what was the clown thing. I kind of figured it was what was going on. What was it, a year ago, 2 years ago, when there was that nationwide thing with the clown, like the creepy clowns popping up everywhere.
I still think that was just like hardcore advertisement for the It movie.
It still is. It's still going on.
It maybe because I don't
Well,
know.
you just
Like
don't
it was.
hear about it in the news now if it is still going on.
I don't know. Like I remember seeing the clowns, and then after it finally died down, like a few months later, then we got like the first couple of screenshots of the It movie, and that was it.
I mean, it would make sense.
I mean, guys, like 6 months ago, about 5 or 6 blocks from my place on Broadway,
Uh-huh.
a clown stabbed a guy while wearing like a Freddy Krueger knife glove.
That's not wrestling.
Wait, so
related.
the clown stabbed a guy, or a guy dressed as a clown stabbed?
The clown had the knife glove and just stabbed somebody.
Oh, okay.
None of the clown stuff makes sense. If anybody could explain this team of clowns,
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
We would be
I
much-
assumed that the killer clowns that showed up last year in 2016 have nothing to do with the weird clown stable in AAA. But if somebody wants to explain that to me, that would be awesome because I don't understand it. Then again, I didn't understand a lot of things that were going on when I watched Triple Mania, but to be fair, I asked people who watch AAA all the time, and they weren't even sure what was going on some things. So,
I mean, you did understand that they were sorry for party rocking, right?
oh my god, don't! I will actually kill you.
Whoa! Don't threaten physical harm on the show. Do you want to get us canceled?
Okay, you did not watch this. I watched all of Triple Mania because I didn't want to watch the Conor McGregor fight, and for a solid 20 minutes, "Sorry for Party Rocking" by LMFAO, which apparently is still a thing, was playing in the background, and I wanted to die.
I mean, when your uncle owns Motown Records, you can be whatever you want in the music industry.
This is true.
Oh yeah, I guess that's fair. It was still awful, and I want to die. So yeah, let's talk about one more stable that's outside the WWE. That's probably one of the biggest stables that exists currently in pro wrestling, and that's Bullet Club.
That's a stable? I thought that was just a bunch of dudes I thought that was just a big inside joke.
No, that's a
I don't think-
actual. Well, okay, so it started off as a stable. At this point, it's pretty much anybody who's American and a bad guy in New Japan Pro Wrestling. But
So
it
I'm in
exists
Bullet
in
Club.
other things because there's like, and it's not. I guess it's not just Americans because good old Marty Scurll is in there too, and that man is very British.
Well, Bullet Club also bleeds out into Ring of Honor too.
Well, that's just the friendship that Ring of Honor and
I mean, I thought they quit being a thing when they kicked Adam Cole out, so...
no, they just actually killed Adam Cole. The Adam Cole that exists in NXT is actually a ghost.
So
He got kicked out of his body.
I actually think that Adam Cole is the E's gateway to bring in the Bullet Club, like actually to just do the Bullet Club, like not even like
Oh my god.
just
Can the Eve Bullet Club be Adam Cole, AJ Styles, and Finn Balor? Like,
that's just another
with
main
Carl
event
Anderson?
mafia.
yeah, Carl
All these
Anderson.
people were in Bullet Club though, Chris. Like the original Bullet Club was, if I'm remembering right, the original Bullet Club was Finn Balor and
Machine
Gallows
Gun Luke
Anderson.
Gallows.
Yep, that was the originals.
And then
Prince Devitt.
Kenny Omega joined. No, AJ joined next. And they kicked Finn out, and then Finn went to the WWE. And then AJ was kicked out by Kenny, and now Kenny is the leader along with the Young Bucks. They're like Bullet Club, like the Bullet Club Elite. I think they lob Marty Scurll in there with them too, but there's other people in there.
Cody Rhodes.
Cody Rhodes is in charge of their Ring of Honor division
Yeah, well, Cody Rhodes
of the Bullet Club.
Cody Rhodes is not a thing anymore. It's Cody. He's not allowed to keep his last name. Remember?
Oh yeah, he's the American Nightmare, Cody.
Well, that's because the WWE owns the name Rhodes, which is dumb. And it's really funny some of the ways that they've gotten around that by like, here's Cody and his wife Brandy Rhodes. Because they can call her Brandy Rhodes, but they can't call him Cody Rhodes.
She never went by the name Brandy Rhodes on TV.
Yeah.
But I think the Bullet Club is a stable that got over for a different reason than most other stables.
Well, like I said, at this point, it kind of feels like anybody who's not a Japanese wrestler in New Japan is in Bullet Club. I mean, there are a few exceptions to the rule, but New Japan also has their other stables too, like their Suzuki Gun.
That's a thing.
I mean, you guys left out the most.
You need to watch a lot more New Japan, man.
I need to just watch New Japan in general.
It's top notch.
You guys left out the most important members of the Bullet Club, which is the Bucks of Youth.
I said the Young Bucks. They're part of the Elite.
Oh yeah, they are. You did. My bad. I wasn't paying attention. I was.
Yes, the Bucks of Youth are the best parts about them.
No one's making more merch money than those two, at least right now. I mean, they're getting checks from the Bullet Club T-shirts and from their own stuff. So,
I mean, Kenny Omega, he's making a lot of money too. That sweet Hot Topic money.
Not Bucks of Youth money though.
I don't know, man. I think the Bullet Club is just all Bullet Club money.
I mean, I know this is a little bit unrelated, but did you guys see the Young Bucks tweet today? Specifically, Nick's.
No.
I heard they're not allowed to do crotch chops.
Yeah. So the tweet from Nick Jackson says they've taken away FDR, which is fuck the revival, Cody's last name, Suck It, Hangman, and now they've taken away Christmas. Because in case you did not hear, WWE will have a Monday Night Raw on Christmas this year.
That's through to no fault of any McMahon. That is because the USA Network wants a program on Christmas Day.
Yeah. Oh well. But yeah.
So while we're on the subject of, and this will get us back to something the captain wanted to hear, which was about failed tag team or stables. Obviously the Bullet Club is a gang of foreigners.
Yep.
In New Japan wrestling, and that's what makes them bad guys.
I just realized that. Oh God.
But guys, we're forgetting about the most dangerous gang of foreigners that just was a total flop. But technically has a win over the New Day at WrestleMania.
Oh my God.
The League. The thing about that match was that match wasn't even a title match.
No, it was an excuse for Stone Cold to stun her out and Xavier Woods there. Guys, where can we start with Lon?
I mean, the fact that Wade Barrett has been a part of 2 failed stables before it.
The core? Yeah, the core was pretty bad, but it wasn't Lon bad.
I mean,
Lon
the stables got progressively worse as he led new stables. Like the Nexus was cool. It was fantastic. It was new. It breathed life into Raw, and then they killed it.
The thing with Lon was like it didn't even feel like a stable. They were just enforcers for Vince McMahon.
So the weird thing with that is Kevin Owens was supposed to be with that, and he called in sick the night of it, and just was not a part of it. And that team probably would have succeeded with Kevin Owens there. Or maybe if they let Wade Barrett be Bad News Barrett?
I don't know.
Just put somebody else as the leader of the stable. I get that, yeah.
Sheamus, the problem with that stable is you had 2 of the most boring competitors in your company. One of them has since gotten a lot better, and I will give Sheamus all that credit. He's made himself relevant to me. He was so boring at that time frame.
He has become fantastic.
He's putting a lot of work, but he was awful at that time. You had him, and you had Alberto Del Rio, who, I mean, I'm pretty sure he draws worse than Jeff Jarrett was, and like that man could break 1 billion guitars and not draw flies at this point in time.
Well, he did throw tacos at the Mexican people.
Oh my God! Don't remind me.
You know what? Speaking of Jeff Jarrett, I got another stable, but when you're done.
But God, Lana was bad, and they very quietly disbanded. Like there was like no real clean cut way that they broke up on TV. They just kind of quit.
That's because they didn't break up on TV. They broke up at WrestleMania.
Yeah, they just quit being a team.
Yeah, they just like that was the weirdest thing about that faction breaking up is it just stopped existing. It wasn't like, you know, with Evolution where the members slowly get kicked out, or the Spirit Squad that just got sent to Ohio Valley. They just literally just.
I mean, I believe the technical term is called a fadeaway.
The Spirit
It
Squad
wasn't
was
even a
the
good fadeaway.
best.
They just like. It was like they're a faction this week, and then they stopped existing. They stopped showing up for like 2 weeks, and then they all started doing their own individual thing. Because I think that was about when Rusev took the title off of Kalisto.
Yeah, there was no storyline breakup. They just all did their own thing.
I mean, technically
we're
they
bored
could
with
still. Technically, they could still be a thing. Like accidentally, you know.
Right.
Jinder Mahal, Rusev, and
You
I
have
don't know.
You have to add Kevin Owens in there. Like Kevin Owens has to be
Kevin
on the
Owens.
team.
Can we add Andrade Cien Almas to that as well?
As soon as we move him up.
Only if he Tranquilos, because Tranquillo is the best part about Almas.
Well, obviously their music would open with that.
Tranquillo.
The even weirder part about that faction was like, wasn't their entrance video like the stupid like low effort silhouettes with like the circle in the middle, like their flag on the outside, and like stock footage of the wrestlers?
Dude, I'm still convinced that entire thing was just a weird fever dream that we all shared.
Well, I have bad news for you.
I'm afraid I got some bad news.
Oh, Lord.
Because I really do love the character of Bad News Barrett. Like,
No, I do too, but
Dude, I miss
you're right.
it.
That faction made no sense.
like,
It was just one day Vince is like, I know what I want. I want all the foreigners to help me. That'll get me over in the other countries.
Oh my god.
technically, technically leading up to the show, and I know I told myself I'd never defend their booking around this time frame because it was so fucking terrible.
Josh becomes a hypocrite in 3, 2,
Oh,
1.
But technically, leading up to that time frame, as stupid as it was, you had a couple of matches where Rusev was tag teaming with Sheamus, or like Rusev was tag teaming with Alberto Del Rio, and they randomly kept having little combinations of these guys. And so when they did come together, it kind of felt logical because they were working with each other a bit. It still was really stupid and like.
Yeah.
I don't. Super 80s. It was so fucking 80s.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm just not.
Zach is speechless.
Yeah.
He just
I don't-
realized
I
that
mean,
the League of
I wanna
I
Nations-
move
didn't
on.
say it was good booking, but it was technically there.
I just want to move on from this.
I just want to live my life.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, we can bring up a good one, or I've got some more super trash
let's talk
ones
about
here.
some more trash ones because I enjoy talking about the trash.
Okay, I've got one.
All
All right.
All right, this has actually happened after the Monday Night Wars. This is a WCW stable,
All right, I quit.
and this stable came at December, the end of December in 1999.
Was
And
it
at this
December
time,
to Dismember?
no,
Oh wait, that's ECW.
but
Stupid
this
idiot.
stable came about, and it was like WCW is pretty much like their last chance to gain some sort of popularity because, this was shortly before the invasion was about to happen. Goldberg lost the title, and he injured his hand, so he was going to be out for a bit because he punched that limo. Hogan was gone, DDP was gone, Booker T was gone. Like all their biggest names have like either dropped out and went to the WWE, or they just said, "Fuck it, I'm done." And the last thing they had going for them was what they called NWO 2000.
Oh my God! What?
Yes, and it consisted of Bret Hart, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and everyone's favorite, Jeff Jarrett.
I'm out. I can't handle this anymore.
You had me up until you said Jeff Jarrett.
I mean, like that
Pretty
statement
much.
sounded great until Jeff Jarrett.
And
I mean, this has all the creativity of a Jeff Jarrett joint right here. So
Honestly, like I think that was Jeff Jarrett's idea. He's like, we're gonna call it. Sorry, I need to get my Southerner accent.
just sound really stupid, and you sound exactly like Jeff Jarrett.
So just how I sound all the time.
yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much.
We're gonna call it NWO 2. Wait for it. 1000. Shut up, Jeff. Go away.
Not stupid enough. Say it again, but with your pants on your head.
What makes you think they weren't already on my head?
Because you didn't sound pants on head stupid like Jeff Jarrett.
So this stable, this stable showed up trying to recapture some of that, former NWO glory. But at that time, the fans were just done and over with the NWO because they had like this huge war between the NWO and the Wolfpack factions.
Oh,
Like I don't know if you guys remember that at all, but it was.
I didn't watch much at WCW, but I did. I do know
Yeah.
what you're talking about.
And at that time, like WCW was split into three groups: NWO, Wolfpack, and like half a dozen guys that were neither of the groups. And every single week was just a war between those two groups. And when they finally broke up, the wrestlers went to WWE. ECW was starting up, and some retired. Like the fans were just done. They're like, they had their orgasm. They're smoking their cigarette, and next thing you know, NWO 2000 comes along, and they're like, no, stop it.
it's all Jeff Jarrett's fault.
Pretty much, like the original NWO, their whole thing was we're here to ruin the WCW, which made the WCW immensely popular at the time. And then NWO 2000 showed up and finally accomplished that goal of destroying WCW.
That was the whole goal the whole time.
Because I think it was like less than 6 months later, WCW was done.
I mean, while we're talking about the WOs, can we get a palate cleanser of like a good WO? That's also really fucking terrible.
Let's hear it.
Do you guys know about the LWO?
Yes.
Or
I do.
the World Order?
It's not the one I thought you were going to go with, but yes, I know it.
The what world order?
The Latino World Order. It was Eddie Guerrero, Psychosis, La Parca, Silver King, and El Dandy, who I've heard is a jam-up guy. Okay?
Go on.
There's also Guerrera, who
Juventud.
Hootentoot, as Mr. Chris Jericho once called him, and reluctantly Rey Mysterio Jr. It took forever for that man to join because he just did not feel like
Yeah.
it's like, the fuck this. This is stupid. Why?
Yeah.
No. Oh, it's the only way you'll give me TV time. Okay, fine.
Well, okay,
Fine,
that's just
I'll do
because WCW at the time was just like, does it have a WO at the end of its faction's name? Okay, we'll put it on TV. If it doesn't, we're gonna book it horribly against our WO stables.
There is another one that actually the Ultimate Warrior was the leader of.
Oh my god, we could do NWO stuff forever.
Okay, this one was actually really weird when it came to WCW.
Well, yeah, it was the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah, like Ultimate Warrior came back. He had a couple of like big comeback matches. Like he's back and he's just wrecking the place. And then next thing you know, like they had this weird storyline of like NWO and Wolfpack members getting just like wrecked backstage and by this mystery wrestler. And they're like, gee, who just came back and is like on a roll with everything? Oh, it's the Ultimate Warrior. and it turns out he was leading the stable called the One Warrior Nation,
Oh my
or
god.
OW.
Oh god.
Yeah. Yep, and then it went nowhere because no one joined up with him, so he's running this stable by himself.
I mean, that's the point of it, right?
It's because they should have called it the WWO,
Yeah.
Warrior
the
World
Warrior
Nation?
World Order.
Warrior
It would have made money if it was the WWO.
But it was just really weird, and it fizzled out. Like the whole thing lasted for a month.
Oh.
Like it started with this mystery wrestler attacking both sides, trying to start a war between them, and then the big surprise, ta-da! Ultimate Warrior's in charge of it, and then people were like, "Eh."
Right.
We don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah, and then like a week later, Ultimate Warrior left the show because of reasons.
I feel dirty for even wanting to join that stable.
Guys, we're giving Monday Night Era WCW a lot of shit here, and I feel like we got to put a bit of that back on the WWF.
Oh yeah, let's put some flack on some of Vince's decisions in the mid.
How about the oddities?
Yeah, I was about to say the oddities.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a
For those who don't know who the oddities are, they were Kurgan, who is just a very strange-looking human being. Golga, who I believe was not Earthquake, he was Typhoon in like a gimp mask.
Oh
Yeah.
my god.
I mean, that's kind of how you could describe that looking in there. It also had the Giant Silva, who frankly made the Great Khali look like a cruiserweight with how fast that guy moved.
Was that the same? Was that Giant Gonzalez?
No, different guy. And at one point in time, there was a guy named the Jackal. They were supposed to be like a freaky circus, but then the Jackal was promptly released from the WWE, causing him to go to a much weirder route where technically I think ICP opened for him at like some pay-per-view event. This has since been cut out of it's one of the few things that's cut in the programming on the WWE network is that entrance with ICP.
Right.
Weirdly enough, and for some reason there's a giant Cartman doll, and like Luna was there, Sable was there. It made no fucking sense whatsoever.
I mean, if that's all we have to say about the oddities, I'm okay with it.
I mean, they were just none of the characters. Like, I will say that people are very. You should edit the part where I'm just stumbling right now.
No, go ahead and stumble. I'll keep it in. It'll be great.
God damn it, I hate you. I will never say that a wrestler is bad because I respect wrestlers and what they do because I know the work that they put in. But the oddities were just bad. None of them could actually wrestle.
Like I said, one of them legitimately made Khali look like a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
And to Zach's statement, I can edit this. I'm just very lazy when it comes to editing. I choose a beginning point, I choose an end point, and then I just let it go.
Chris, you're the Jeff Jarrett of editors, I tell you what.
No, it's just that I have so much going on.
Okay, Jeff.
Got some big stuff going on.
I mean, also at that time frame, you had the Union, which was created to fight off the corporation and the McMahon Helmsley.
Oh my god.
And let's see, without Googling it, none of you better have Googled this. Can you guys name the 4 members of the Union?
Nope.
I don't remember what the Union was.
The Union were 4 guys who were betrayed by the McMahon Helmsley faction.
Well, I'm gonna Google this.
Around this time frame.
I know who they are.
To be perfectly fair, like
I
Stone
remember
Cold
these
Steve
guys.
Austin comes to mind.
I
But
mean,
I know he's not.
I'm going to say I'm going to say the 4 people, and 3 of them are legit. They're all pretty big deals.
I know who they are too.
But such a forgettable faction because of this. So, Jose, who's in the Union?
It was the Big Show, Test,
Yep.
Mankind, and Ken Shamrock.
Yep. So the best part was the AKA that they went by. So they were the Union, or the Union of People You Oughta Respect, Son, or Up Yours for short.
I like that.
God damn it, Russo.
No, why didn't that get over? I like that.
That's funny too, because the picture that's on the Wikipedia for this is just all of them standing in the ring holding 2x4s.
Yep, that's the same exact one I'm looking at. It's on a different page.
Oh my
Really?
That, for like a few weeks, they just carried around 2x4s because they're equalizer for like the freakishly huge McMahon Helmsley faction, which was most of, if I recall, it was X-Pac, Road Dogg, the Mean Street Hooligans, Shane McMahon, and then Triple H and Stephanie, right?
That was before
Yeah.
Shane McMahon was doing anything like super crazy, though.
It's about the time he started.
Yeah, the first time he jumped off anything was SummerSlam 2000.
I mean, maybe I'm discrediting how powerful the Mean Street Posse is, but like I'm pretty sure the 2x4s at least handled that situation. Technically, Ken Shamrock was swinging one of those bad boys, and like
Ken Shamrock is a deadly weapon.
Ken Shamrock is the baddest man on the planet. He should be in the WWE Hall of Fame. Like Brock Lesnar didn't bring MMA there first. Like,
Oh my god, you just created a dream scenario in my mind right now, Josh. What if at WrestleMania, Brock Lesnar is constantly defending and re-winning the Universal Championship against the dudes we were all thinking he should face?
I mean, he'd beat Ken Shamrock, but that's mostly because Ken Shamrock like gave himself a concussion
Oh no, I'm just saying, like,
before he got to the ring.
that would be the most hilarious storyline. Vince, book it. I know you listen to us, because, you know,
You have Wi-Fi on
'cause-
the airplane.
you have Wi-Fi on the jet.
Taz told me that. Like, so speaking of Taz, he was a part of a faction that we had brought up earlier, who is awful for all of the same reasons the NWO was awful.
Ugh,
This is
Go
the Blue
on.
World Order.
no,
No, it's aces and eights.
yeah.
Aces and Eights' biggest problem was the payoff at the end.
Should not have been Bubba Ray.
Who you saying should run that franchise?
Me.
I mean, it could have been Taz, but Taz was like Taz was no longer an active competitor at the time. I mean,
Wasn't Taz an announcer for TNA at that point?
yep, and he betrayed him just like Eric Bischoff did
That's the
the
one.
WCW.
That's the one time that I'll say that the payoff was, like, it wasn't worth the time. Like, just let that one fade away. Don't try to pay it off poorly. Just let it fade away. Or just run the gimmick to where, like, the aces and eights are self-governed. Like, they are just, like, each individual member. It's just like,
I mean, at that-
I don't remember what the term is. I'm sorry.
The fadeaway.
No, like, each member of Aces and Eights has equal share in the future of Aces and Eights, so there's no leader.
Oh, like a real biker gang.
Yeah, that one. They should have just
I mean,
done that.
the larger problem you had with Aces and Eights is I honestly don't know who was booking at that time. It was around the time frame where it was either Eric Bischoff or it was Jeff Jarrett. And while Eric Bischoff being a wrestling genius,
Oh, yeah.
at that point in time, that's not good work. Like,
I think they
it
were...
made like the Death Rattles of WCW looked super creative at that time. And
I think they were trying to recreate the NWO reveal.
Also ripping off Sons of Anarchy, because the U's like that show. Okay.
Yeah, and it was around the same time when that show was at its height.
Yep.
I don't watch TV shows that people tell me I should watch.
I mean, I never watched it either, but I know that was a thing.
You should totally watch World Wrestling Entertainment.
Oh no!
Actually, they're the funniest part about them
what is that, Josie? Is it popular?
Some people would say it is popular. I think it's slowly growing.
All right, I'll look into it. I'm not big on indie TV shows.
I think you might enjoy it.
So
you're all fucking stupid.
The Sons of Anarchy thing was obvious with them, down to the point where their theme song, like, they had to take lyrics and add new lyrics to it because it was exactly the theme song to Sons of Anarchy. Like, they had to stop using it.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
Jesus.
I hate TNA.
Oh, but that faction had some pretty fantastic wrestlers. I mean, I had D'Lo Brown in there. And he was the real deal now, okay?
He was the real deal now.
So that could segue us into actually a good... back at with segues again. That can segue us into an actually really great faction, which is the Nation of Domination.
Oh, we talked about them a little bit.
As we talked about last week, I love the Nation of Domination. Despite the fact that it was very racist, but...
they added Owen Hart in there, and the fucked up thing is, like, when the New Day were floundering when they first came out, I remember seeing a joke online about how, like, they should add Bo Dallas to it, like the Nation added Owen Hart pretty early on.
Oh, man.
I probably would not hate that, actually.
No, Bo would have made it work.
Yeah, I actually really like the Nation of Domination. I thought they were a really good faction. They were basically just Black Panthers, and any character who even remotely looked African American was thrown in there. Like, I know The Rock is half African American, but it just seemed weird to put him in there. But it was really good.
Who else would be the leader?
That's fair. And they were... well, the obvious answer is The Rock, because he was the better leader than Farouk.
He's the ruler of the nation.
But yeah, they... Oh, God, what was it they were feuding against? They were basically feuding against white supremacists, weren't they?
They're feuding against DX. Which...
They were feuding against DX at the end, but before that, they were feuding against someone else.
It was against a biker gang. I forget what they were called. I think it was the Outlaws or something. It was just a very... I can't tell you anything more than that because they're just so damn forgettable.
Somebody Google this.
But I mean, they did eventually feud with DX, which created such a... It's super cringy, like a segment that's still pretty funny, and I guess Mark Henry thought it was funny, so it makes it okay. But there was a segment where DX went out there dressed as the Nation of Domination. Like, Triple H put on like a fake or big wig and like fake sunglasses and stuff, and like
he drew on a people's eyebrow.
He called himself the Croc. But the weirdest thing about it was that X-Pac went out there blackface.
Fat suit,
Yeah.
blackface.
Actual blackface, and like, it's cringy to watch, but apparently they went backstage and Mark Henry found it to be the funniest thing he had seen.
Earlier on the show, we talked about X-Pac gaining a lot of heat for a lot of dumb things that he did. The
That might be one of them.
hated that. Like, that was bad. Like, that's heat.
So I looked it up. The name of the biker faction was the Disciples of Apocalypse.
Gross.
Oh, yeah.
which consisted of 4 main members: Crush, Chain, Skull, and 8-Ball.
Oh boy.
That's like the most 1995 wrestling thing I've ever heard.
Funny thing is, all those guys went on to have very unsuccessful careers.
They did.
I'm surprised Nails wasn't part of that faction. Oh,
Well, he would have been had he not got himself blacklisted from the industry.
oh, come on! That's an inside joke. That was supposed to be for them.
I'm pretty sure if that stable is around today, Baron Corbin would be the leader of it.
Oh,
Vince,
God, they should
don't
bring
do
it back with Baron Corbin.
Nope.
Can he shave his head like all the members of that gang?
Baron
Well,
Like,
Corbin.
it would look great. I just want this for him to shave his head. I know it's going to flounder in like 2 weeks.
So Chains also did have Chains, one of the members of the Disciples of Apocalypse, did have one thing that he was known for, and without Googling it, I will give somebody $1 if they can tell me what it was. I'll give you guys like 5 seconds.
That's
or, like,
gambling.
Was
We
he
can't do
fake
that.
Razor?
He was not fake Razor.
Wait, what is this? I didn't hear all of it.
Okay, so Chains, one of the members of the biker gang, actually did something of importance. He was not fake Razor, but
He was in the Headbangers.
no.
God damn it.
All right, Josie, I'll give you one guess, and then I'm just going to tell you guys.
I got nothing, man.
I was gonna
He
say
was
he's
the
gonna milk
fake
that guess.
Undertaker.
Fake Taker.
Oh God, fake taker.
He was
Ryan
fake
Lee.
Taker, and like, here I'll send a picture to the chat and tell me he does not look like fake Taker.
All right. Gonna interrupt real quick because we got a new follower on Twitch. Karumi, thanks for the follow. Unfortunately, I don't speak enough Spanish to understand what you're saying in the chat. So,
Man,
yeah.
our follower base.
I believe he's saying something about Chris being an awful champion.
That's probably true.
I don't know. I got chat save muriendo despacio. Vamos mejor una playa un Puerto Rico.
Do what I did. Just copy it, paste it
Google
in Google
Translate.
search, and then go to pictures.
Yeah, I'm. But anyway, I thank you. I thank you.
Images.
We
Find many pictures of carrots.
Carrots and cats.
just carrots and cats. Oh God. But we thank you for the follow all the same.
Oh,
I mean, the only Spanish I know is Donde está la biblioteca?
Actually, that reminds me of another stable, by the way.
oh God.
Was it the one that rode lawnmowers to the ring? Like that?
Yes, the Mexicools.
Oh, God.
They would dress up in janitor jumpsuits and ride a lawnmower to the ring.
Okay, I'm going to guess the members because I think I remember all of them. It was
Go ahead.
Hutu Guerrera,
Uh-huh.
Psychosis,
Yep.
and Super Crazy.
Oh, you got it. They were around for 2 years, and their only accomplishment was Juventud winning the Cruiserweight Championship. That was it. That's all they
How the hell were they around for 2 years?
I am super. I am crazy. I am super crazy.
All right, Zach, you
Yep.
can't do that ever again because we will get flagged.
Oh, it doesn't make sense they were around for 2 years. I think Vince would like discover the very blatant racism there of having his
Loves the blatant racism.
So let's see. Even if only
step in after like 6 months of like, Dad, we tried it. People
Get
don't
rid of
like
it.
it. We need to get rid of it.
it says here, even if only one member of the Mexicools was scheduled to wrestle, all members came to the ring riding a Juan Deere lawnmower. With their entrance
Oh
music.
yeah, that's what they were called. One deers. I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
With their entrance music featuring the sound of a cutting lawnmower, the mowers themselves, a stereotype of Mexican working in the landscaping business, were customized with various items which are also considered stereotypical of the Mexican community, such as Mexican flags, fuzzy dice, Corona beer balloons, fuzzy steering wheel covers.
Those are just things that Josie owns.
Exactly.
Did you bring this up
Yeah,
because they're
that's
your
a-
favorite stable?
I did enjoy the Mexicools.
I was hoping that we would bring them up because it's such a weird thing. Like that was what 2006,
2005 through 2006.
Yeah.
Oh my god. How did that go on for so long?
Oh my god! It could only got better if Carlito Cool was part of it.
Whoa.
Technically,
Carlito spits in the face.
type of Latin. He's an island man, okay?
I know, but still.
And he spits in the face of people that
Who
don't want
want
to be cool, Josie.
Yeah.
It sounds like all three of you would be getting an apple to the face right now.
Oh god.
You especially, sir.
Oh, yeah? Well...
You know, that was my best comeback. Like, oh yeah, well, you.
You! Well, damn it, you stole the best comeback.
I got nothing for that. Like, how do you counter that?
You go find better
I guess you
friends.
win it. I guess you win it. So, we vaguely brought up DX. I don't like Dick riding DX all that much just because, you know.
Oh, please.
You
If
don't
there's one thing you love,
WWE?
it's dick riding.
No, but the WWE does enough of it.
Yeah,
I mean-
there's so much that can be said about DX that if we're just going to talk about DX, we'll just save that for an entire episode.
We'll do an entire episode.
I don't want to talk about DX today, but we can't leave out another Triple H organization because I have a double segue here, guys.
Oh god.
Yeah.
Evolution, which is exactly how you build a faction. You had your mouthpiece, who is one of the older members of it, and he's very inactive. You had your champion in Triple H. You had the biggest, baddest muscle you could find, who was Dave Bautista. And then you had a young up-and-comer
Who's just gonna get the rub?
One Randall Kenneth Orton.
and this is exactly how the Dangerous Alliance was. This is exactly how the Horsemen were. Like, this is how you build a faction, and this faction was so dominant.
We will
Across-
we will be ignoring the ill-fated Evolution 2.0, right? When they just redid it, like in 2010 or 2013.
I wasn't watching at that time.
Yeah, they when Batista came back and won the Royal Rumble.
Oh, yeah, that was rough, but we'll ignore that. But at that time, you legitimately, when you look at that, you have 4 Hall of Famers in one faction, and they left. I forget which event it was, but they, at one point in time, walked out of a Raw pay-per-view holding every single title.
Yeah,
Except for
'cause-
women.
I think-
No, I think Triple H won the women's title.
He might have. But I mean, you had that night. Randy Orton walked out of the building with the Intercontinental Champion. You had the tag team champs and Batista and Ric Flair, and Triple H walked away with the gold. And they held those for a few months, on and off with all of them there, and it was pretty dominant for a time frame. Sure, this faction also gave us some pretty horrible stuff like the Katie Vick
that never happened.
storyline, which is bad, but for the most part, it was really good. And it also had a great way of going out. I mean, you had the thumbs down heard around the world, followed
hear a
pretty
thumbs
soon
down?
after by. That was the night after Randy Orton defeated a wrestler who I can't ever remember who they are because it doesn't ever say who they are. For his first world heavyweight champion, and at that time he was the youngest heavyweight champion. He beat Brock Lesnar, I want to say, by about 6 months.
No, he's the youngest world heavyweight champion. Brock Lesnar is still the youngest WWE champion.
He was younger than Lesnar, though. So like,
Lesnar was 23. Orton was like 24.
Was he?
Yeah.
To the Google machine. Go on. I'll look this up.
All right, we're going to take a magic carpet ride.
But the following night on Raw, Evolution is having their celebration, and Randy Orton's hoisted up on Batista's shoulders, and Triple H's thumbs up very slowly turns into a thumbs down, which also led to Randy Orton getting dropped on the ground, and also being one of the last times that a Randy Orton title reign actually meant something.
Oh. Bzz.
So the one and only time then.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys shit on him way more than I do.
I'm sitting back here. I'm just surprised.
That's because he deserves it. Randy Orton, fight me.
Randy Orton's a baby back bitch.
Oh, one of these days, we're going to get Randy Orton as a guest. And then the only questions we're going to ask him are, hey, Randy, how does it feel being a baby back bitch? And then we're suddenly going to get blacklisted by the wrestling community. I'm going to become homeless,
Yep.
begging for strangers year-round on the street corner, because mine's not.
Well, I guess by that point in time, we could start talking about baseball or something.
Josh got arrested because he hit Orton with the chair.
Randy was younger. Brock was 25. Randy was 24.
And once again,
damn.
Still because
your
they're
rating
separate
trivia
belts, though.
champ is smarter than the T-shirt champ over here.
But they're also different championships, so you can't.
That
compare
is
the
true.
two.
But I mean, you had a clean breakup on all those guys. Ric Flair and Triple H ended their final little bit, their last two together, in a steel cage match where obviously Ric Flair bled like a stuffed pig.
Ah.
Well, yeah, Ric Flair
It's
is
Flair.
incapable of not bleeding.
Yeah.
Delicious.
I mean, the flowchart goes, is Ric Flair in the ring? Yes, he's bleeding.
Is he bleeding?
No, he will be.
Yeah, give him like 5 minutes.
Yeah, he'll find a way.
He's gonna gig the moment he takes something on the face. Just wait.
So, guys, segue time. We're talking about Ric Flair, which is something that I guess only stupid idiots don't do on their podcast.
And
No,
that
no.
is-
We're doing a Ric Flair episode. Don't worry.
After a listener pointed out that you didn't talk about Ric Flair.
Yeah,
It was implied.
I was purposefully not talking about Ric Flair.
Yeah. I mean, the implication was there.
He would knife edge chop every single one of us had he known that this happened.
Well,
That's true.
Uh,
I'm gonna contact him on Twitter and ask him to come on our show and knife edge chop us.
that's actually the reason Charlotte won't give me the time of day, because we completely ignored her dad.
No, Charlotte didn't
But-
give you the time of day because you're fucking creepy.
Well, that too.
But guys, we're talking about factions, and that means that we should probably talk about the single greatest faction of all time. And that
Go
would be
on.
the Four
Is it the average
Horsemen.
guys?
Well, number
Well,
two.
I gotta
I
tell
guess
you,
this is the number two faction.
my hand is kind of stuck. My thumb is stuck to my hand. I've been going like this all day. So yeah, obviously, Four Horsemen, greatest faction of all time.
They're not tied.
I feel like we're going to cover the Horsemen a lot more on the next Four Horsemen episode, or the Ric Flair episode with the Ric Flair iteration. One thing about the Four Horsemen that made them strong is they appeared multiple times within that. There are different members all the time, and it just depended on your year. I mean,
Well, we'll look at it. The original Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Ole Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and James J. Dillon was technically an original member as the manager.
yep. And that's the initial incarnation, of course. That
Yeah, then they kicked out old Anderson, brought in Lex Luger, kicked out Luger, and brought in Barry Windham. Barry Windham, probably the best of the three members there, especially because when they brought them back, they brought it back with Ole Anderson, which was a little weird. And then got rid of him. But they also put Sting in there, and they kicked Sting out. And one of the greatest betrayals of Sting's career, like there's that age-old joke that Sting is the most betrayed man in wrestling, but the kick out of Sting from the Four Horsemen is still the best, but one of my favorite betrayals of all time.
I mean, there's also, at one point in time, Brian Pillman was in there, Sid Vicious in there, and There's some guy named Chris Benoit.
Benoit,
Never heard of him.
Monkey.
Benoit, who's that? And then apparently Kurt Hennig was in there. Dean Malenko was in there, which I think is one of the best additions you could make to there. That guy is totally deserving.
Yep.
And I guess Jeff Jarrett was in there, but like,
we don't talk about that.
Yeah.
yeah,
I wouldn't say unfortunately, but that's like right around the time that I remember the Four Horsemen.
every faction.
Because I would like to, I would like to say that, I fondly remember, Ric Flair and the Andersons, and unfortunately, they were before my time.
Let's put it this way: if I'm gonna pick my ideal Four Horsemen, it's Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Barry Windham. Like that. That's just the best iteration of the Four Horsemen that you could have had.
So, do you guys want to put on our booking hats for the end of the show where we're talking about the Horsemen?
Yeah, let's do it.
You are the head booker of the WWE. Ric Flair has come to you and said that he wants to bring back the Four Horsemen with him in a J.J. Dillon role. Here, Four Horsemen.
Four Horsemen of current wrestlers right now.
Currently employed and on the main roster. You're making this Four Horsemen as of tomorrow.
Making this a heel faction, I'm guessing.
Correct. They could be on either roster. You can pull from either Raw or SmackDown to make this.
Ooh, that's
Well, I feel like Bobby has to be one of them.
What is Bobby Roode in there? Is he your Ric Flair? Is he your Arn Anderson? Is he your Tully?
He's definitely not the Rick. I don't see Bobby running running the modern day Four Horsemen if we were to make it.
I think Bobby plays more of a Triple H role in this one.
I mean, if I'm making mine, it's gonna be The Miz, Seth Rollins, Bobby Roode. I'd probably put somebody like Kevin Owens in there as well.
That's very similar to what I would do. I think giving AJ a heel turn and then putting him in there works because fans are going to cheer AJ no matter what. I think AJ works better as a heel though, and especially in like a Four Horsemen-esque faction. So I think mine would consist of Bobby Roode, AJ Styles. Probably Seth. And what did I put as the last person? Samoa Joe.
Ooh.
I mean, I almost snuck Ziggler into mine, but he's just not as good of a talker as Kevin.
All right. Me next.
all right, go for it.
I also just realized that 3 of the 4 people that I put in there were in TNA. I just made a TNA faction. That's really what I did.
So I'm gonna go a different direction with this one, kind of different from what you guys are going with. Because if I want to build a stable that's gonna show domination, I want every member of that stable, or I want every championship to be winnable by every member of that stable. If that makes sense.
Okay.
What I just said.
So you want to throw a woman in there?
Oh yeah, and I got the perfect one.
Is it Bailey?
No, fuck you.
You said you wanted good wrestlers.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh wow, Joey.
This is why I keep saying that I'm not the heel of this podcast. I have not once talked shit about Bailey. That's like the 3rd time, Mister. Oh, I'm a babyface. I'm not a heel. Jose over here talking mad shit about Bailey.
All right, so here's my 4 horsemen. Every one of us is gonna say Bobby Roode, so of course Bobby Roode.
Well, yeah, he's a fantastic wrestler and would be fantastic in that faction.
Yes, he would.
Yep.
Plus, he pulls off the robes.
The
robes and the suits.
He just seems like a person that would be in that kind of faction.
I gave it away already, but Asuka would be in that.
Okay.
Solely because, in a stable that's supposed to be just all super dominant badass characters, you have to have Asuka in there because she's the most dominant thing ever.
Plus, she doesn't have to talk when all the other members are great talkers.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna agree with The Miz. The Miz belongs in there because The Miz is like your mouthpiece in that one. And I would also choose Samoa Joe. Just
Yeah, I like it.
it's a powerhouse foursome, and what you can do is if you put him on Raw or SmackDown, put a world title on Bobby, keep the IC title on The Miz, put the tag titles on The Miz and Joe, because that's a good dynamic for a tag team right there.
Right.
And put the women's championship on Asuka, and there you go. You have all championships won by one stable, and they're the most dominant thing on the show.
I'm a little surprised you put Charlotte in there, but
You mean Asuka?
technically she did disown her dad on TV. So
Oh, you're surprised I didn't put Charlotte in there.
very surprised.
Well,
but
Charlotte's not.
there's a kayfabe reason why she's not in there.
Charlotte is not as dominant as Asuka.
No, she's definitely
Yeah.
not. But
It's true.
both fantastic wrestlers.
Oh yeah.
Now, Jose,
Say
who's
what
your
now?
horseman? Who are your horsemen?
I do got some similar choices. Like, I definitely would take Samoa Joe to be in there. And I definitely would take Rude.
Sweet. Rude and Joe are
Rude's
just
tr-
locks.
Yeah, like, Rude strikes me as the Ric Flair type. He's definitely got that, quote-unquote, pun unintended flair, if you will.
I hate you.
Yeah, I know you do.
I do legitimately believe that he has taken somebody to Space Mountain before, so...
Like, are we talking legitimately Space Mountain? Like, he went to Disney?
like Ric Flair Space Mountain, which I'm pretty sure was just his penis.
What kind of nickname is that for a penis?
A great one. Just ask Ric Flair.
Anyway, Josie, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No worries. And for my third choice, it was really hard because I could not decide if I would like Styles or Owens in that group. And I think honestly, if I already have Rude and Joe, I think Styles would be a better fit. Like, either one could work, but I think Styles would actually work on that a bit better.
Mm-hmm.
And for my fourth one is a surprise. What I would think would surprise a lot of people, especially if it's going to be the heel faction, and that would be Cena.
Oh,
Believe
my
it or
God.
So, Ric Flair put his out, I want to say this is about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, when Seth was still the champ.
Uh-huh.
But the one that Ric Flair put out, which is a pretty fantastic one even now, was Seth Rollins, The Miz, Dolph Ziggler, and Cesaro.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like Cesaro. Why not?
Yeah.
That man knows how to make a four horseman right there.
I mean,
You
that
said
would always his
tomorrow,
job,
though.
so.
And if we're making them tomorrow, that means I got to break up Sheamus and Cesaro, which is the best thing on Raw right now. That isn't named Braun Strowman.
I mean, yeah, really, it's the Braun Strowman show. I
Or the
thought they
Miz.
had changed the name of it to Monday Night Braun.
Monday Night Braun.
I'm not finished with you.
Oh,
That's
God.
the tagline and the theme song.
Roses are red, violets are blue. I hate everything. I'm not finished with you.
Oh man, how did we not pick Braun Strowman?
Because you don't. He's not a four horseman type guy.
No, he's
No
really not.
offense.
He was yeah, he was on my thought process for a second, and I was like, no, it's just not.
So my way of building the Horsemen, and like consistently throughout their careers, the Horsemen were great in-ring competitors. They were all really fantastic on the mic, but most importantly, they were glamorous. They went out there in suits. They showed up in stretch limousines. Like, It doesn't sound like Braun.
Mm-hmm.
I think Joe's the only one in mine, or anyone's, that wouldn't dress like that. He'd just be like black slacks and a black tank top.
No, Joe wore a suit on his Raw debut, if you recall.
No?
Yes.
No. He wore Seth
a
Rollins'
t-shirt
skin.
and pants.
Is what he wore.
But like the next night when he was there, he showed up in a suit because they're doing like some kind of assassin type thing. Like, dude looks great in a suit. He'd fit perfectly in the Horsemen.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, he did show up in a suit.
Asuka already dresses in a suit all the time, like a suit.
And I guess I mean that's what,
Like a suit. You heard it here first. Chris with his fantastic
verbiage.
So
I mean,
eloquent and articulate.
I guess that's kind of what made Evolution work. Is like Evolution very much was the most recent iteration of the Horsemen.
I think Main Event Mafia tried to be the Horsemen, but there were too many members.
Play of 4 of them. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
You can have 4 plus a mouthpiece, but the mouthpiece is J.J. Dillon.
Yeah.
I don't think I want that on my Horsemen. My mouthpiece is already the best mouthpiece in all of... I don't want to say pro wrestling, because I'm sure there's somebody who's better at talking than The Miz.
So Joe,
yeah.
the picture you just sent, yeah, that's his first like official night, but he was there the week before and attacked Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
like
I
said,
understand that.
He wore Seth Rollins' skin. He destroyed him.
Quick question. I'm not like super familiar with TNA, but
So TNA stands for Total Nonstop Action.
Oh, I got that.
It's run by Jeff Jarrett and Dixie Carter.
The name is a pun on the word tits and ass.
Okay, assholes. I got that.
Their
sorry,
Thursday night show is called Impact.
Oh my god, I'm just gonna fist all of you.
And another one for Robo Jose.
God damn it.
Chris, mark it. Mark it so we can find it.
Hang on. Done.
I'm so serious about making Robo Jose and like Robo Zach at some point in time.
Okay, when we're off the air, you're gonna have to explain that to me. But didn't TNA have their main event Mafia called like Planet Jared or some shit like that? Where it was the same thing? Like it was.
Oh yeah, it was. Let me look up Planet Jarrett. They are.
I could be wrong if that's what it's called, but I feel like that's a thing.
That is their team name. It is that stupid. I know. It shouldn't be that stupid. Nothing should be that stupid. But
Let's
it was.
be fair here. Everything is that stupid. We're wrestling fans, Josh.
So it was the Abyss, America's Most Wanted, Monty Brown, Team Canada, which consisted of Petey Williams, A1, Eric Young, Johnny Devine, and Bobby Roode.
It's too big. Already too
Gail
big.
Kim. Yeah, it had Larry Zabisco in there and Scott Steiner, but it's
Too
why.
many. You only need 4 members.
But when you're as pants on head stupid as Jeff Jarrett is, you think you need 1 billion members.
You know what? You know what else is going to happen? We're going to have Jeff Jarrett do like the opener for our podcast one day. Like, hopefully we get that big, and we're going to just have people do openers for our podcast. And Jeff Jarrett's opener for our podcast will be like, listen to these blowhards talk shit about Jeff Jarrett all the time.
Well, I would totally like if we went up to Jeff Jarrett and we're like, "Hey, can you record a podcast intro for us? We'll pay you." All you need to say is that we're just going to talk shit about you for like 5 minutes at least per episode.
That's all we do.
I mean, have you guys ever heard the clip of current top kayfabe fighter in the world, Floyd Mayweather, try and read like it was like a charity thing for like a veterans?
I like how you use the term kayfabe for Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah, well, come on.
It's boxing. Boxing's more rigged than wrestling.
No, there are clips where it straight up looks like both of them are pulling punches. At the end of that fight, both of them said, "Hey, we're both rich now." I'm not making that up. Like, that's a real thing. He's the biggest kayfabe fighter in the world there.
Didn't they walk away with like 100 million each or something like that?
Yeah,
Floyd made 100. Floyd made 100, and McGregor had 30 guaranteed.
Okay. That's still, I don't know why I'm disappointed by that. That's still a huge amount of money.
Chris, you got me sidetracked with making fun of me calling it kayfabe.
my bad. Keep it up.
Well, I forgot what I was even saying.
Ha! I did it. I derailed Josh.
God damn it, unprofessionalism.
Man, that's impressive because I'm not even like thrown off, and I'm watching an 81-year-old man do the American Ninja Warrior course. So,
I mean,
it was a kayfabe
podcast, you bastard.
You do know that's just a guy dressed up to be an old man, right?
I figured.
Oh no, it's talking about the. So he did a promo for like it was a veterans charity, and like when McGregor said he can't read, he wasn't kidding. Okay. Like Floyd legitimately cannot read. I'll send you guys the clip. It's hilarious. But I feel like Jeff Jarrett doing our promo for the average guys, if he reads as well as he is creative at wrestling, will be exactly like that. Like Jeff Jarrett's like the illiterate equivalent of pro wrestling booking.
Is it bad that I kind of want a feud between you and Jeff Jarrett on the show?
I mean, I talk enough shit about the guy, but I feel like it's totally justified every time.
Shitty heel versus shitty heel.
He is stepping away from GFW for a while.
He's double. Well, that's double G, double O, double D. Good.
Double D good
for GFW.
That's it for the Average Guys Pro Wrestling Podcast. And if you live in the Denver area, we got some cool information for you.
All right, this next Saturday, that'd be September 16th, at the Hillside Community Center, Colorado Springs Wrestling presents Colorado Cash-In at the Hillside Community Center. It's going to be 925 South Institute Street in Colorado Springs, Colorado, featuring the Colorado Cash-In match, which involves 7 competitors and 1 CSW championship opportunity. The main event will present Jimbo Lucas challenging Marty the Moth Martinez, a guy that I plugged earlier, for his CSW championship. Other confirmed stars include Johnny Crash, Officers Pain and Punishment, who, if you ask Josh, he loves them. Hashtag The Cult awaits you, Cormac Battle, Danger Dean, and many more. VIP admissions only $15, and general admission will be $10. Doors open at 6.
Saturday, September 9th, 2017, New Era Wrestling presents American Dreams at the Buffalo Rose, 1119 Washington Avenue in Golden, Colorado, featuring Tony Morales versus Delta Jr., plus appearances by Dooley Trailer, Joey Kincaid, and New Era Wrestling champion Duff Doyle.
Sunday, September 16th, Lucha Libre and Last presents The Battle Who Could Care Less at Ratio Beer Works, located at 2920 Larimer Street in Denver. The show is a fundraiser for Triple L star Amanda, who has to undergo surgery for her broken collarbone. Cash donations are accepted, admissions are free, and the show starts at 7 p.m.
Sunday, September 10th, 2017, Primo's Pro Wrestling presents Protagonist at the Watering Bowl, 5411 Leetsdale Drive in Denver, Colorado, featuring the Primo's Pro Wrestling champion Manny Lemons defending his title against Cody Devine. Tickets are just $10, and the doors open at 6:30 p.m.
All right, thanks everybody for listening to the Average Guys Pro Wrestling Podcast. If you disagree with any of our opinions or just want to yell at us, let your voice be heard at twitter.com/AverageGuysCo, or just look us up that way as well. If you want to listen to us live record the show, you can follow us on facebook.com/AverageGuysPro or twitch.tv at Average Guys Podcast. We'll be recording every Tuesday night around 9 p.m. Mountain Time. If you join us early, you can hear us banter about random things and sometimes stay after to do the same. For me, Haaf, Josie, and Josh, we're out.